Welcome aboard, Skylark Outdoors here, and today we've got a treat for you. We're bringing you along on the 2025 Ugotta Regatta based in Harbor Springs and Petoskey, Michigan. They sail out on Lake Michigan in Little Traverse Bay, and there are multiple different design classes of boat that will race in this race. So the Ugotta Regatta happens every year after the Mackinac or Chicago to Mac race, which a lot of people know about. We've got some live audio from the race, so we're going to tune some of that in. It might be a little choppy while we give you that live audio, but we hope you enjoy the Ugotta Regatta 2025 and watch these beautiful boats race on what was a picturesque day. There was about 10 to 15 knots of wind, but the water was completely calm. You could feel the breeze pick up in the afternoon, and you've got everything from 30-foot boats to 70-foot boats racing in this race, and then even smaller classes as well. So let me give you some of the live audio. Stick with me or turn it down if it's a little breezy or choppy. We're recording this out on the water, but hope you enjoy the Ugotta Regatta 2025.
Okay, so the two big races are the Chicago to Mackinac, which is 313 miles, and the Port Huron to Mackinac, which has two separate courses. Now, I say small boats, the little tiny boats you see here cannot participate in either race. The smallest they let do that, I think, are 28 feet boats in both of those races. These little ones out here are like 22s. The J111s are, I think, 30s or 36 foot. I think they're in the 30-foot range, the lower 30 foots. They do that, and everybody takes the same Chicago to Mac course. But the slower boats, which these are all race boats, so these are fast. The cruising boats, which are this size, start on Friday, and then the race boats start on Saturday, so they all finish about the same time. The Port Huron to Mackinac does the same sort of thing, but they give the race boats take an offshore course, so you go diagonal across Lake Huron over to Canada around Cove Island, which is just a GPS point. You don't actually go around the island, but you go around this invisible marker, and then you go diagonal over to Mackinac Island, and that's 268 miles. Or the cruising boats or slower boats take the nearshore course where you go hug the shore of Michigan, and that's 207 miles. And the Port Huron to Mac race this year, I think the first to finish was like 30 hours of elapsed time. The Chicago to Mackinac was a little closer to 40 hours elapsed time. But the Chicago race had less wind, and the Port Huron race it was a fast year. I've done the Port Huron twice, and then one that we dropped out, but we motored up to the island. And the two that I did was a 40-hour and a 48-hour on a similar sized boat to these, and then the one I dropped out on was a really big boat, like what's up in the distance there, and that's a tall tale for a longer trip than we have today.
So the Ugotta Regatta takes place in Little Traverse Bay, and you can see that Harbor Springs is on the right side of the screen, and then Charlevoix is actually that point on the left side of the screen.
So these J111s will compete in both Mackinac races. There's the middle 2 weeks of July. They alternate who goes first. This is the 116th year of Chicago to Mac and the 101st year of Port Huron to Mac.
You might have heard it there, but we got a little VHF chatter from the race officials giving out information on the start of the race as well as instructions to racers. It didn't come through good on video, but just want to let you know that's what this silence was.
I don't know if that came out over the PA, but the 32-footers they're about to do this start here, and they're going to head out towards the blue mark, which is down the way there. So you can see up in front of us the smaller spinnaker sails that are up. That's the first group of boats that left. So they've gone around a corner up there, and now they're on their way back down. Now, the spinnaker sails, if you look at them, aren't symmetrical. They're called asymmetrics. And for a long time, they did symmetric spinnakers, and the technology's gotten better. They were more efficient, so they looked like a more balloon shape. And these are cut a little differently, and they've been able to get more speed out of this style. But the big improvement with a symmetric it's harder, and you have more pieces to keep moving, and a spinnaker pole and everything else. with the asymmetrics, what they've done, and you look at these J boats going by us, you see the little notch at the very front of their boat. They got like a number, and then there's a little notch above it. That's a bowsprit. So literally, there's a pole that they push, and it shoots out about 5 feet in front of their boat, and then that moves that sail farther out to catch more air. And instead of having a spinnaker pole, which you had to manhandle up and down and unhook and rehook and hang off the side of the boat and risk knocking somebody out with it. I mean, it was they're a pain. I raced on those boats, so the asymmetrics are just an improvement. They're much easier to handle and safer, and they get the same performance out of them.
The boats with the spinnaker sails are way, way off in the distance. They just look like little dots. And the spinnaker sail is a head sail, or the most forward sail on the boat, made of very lightweight material. These in front of us have genoas or jibs with the black sails.
All right, you see that front one? There's this front group. He's kind of pinched around the committee boat right there, and they're all kind of coming up on the start line, but they're stalling. Yeah, they all get bunched up like that, and it's like, oh, I want to duck right when they signal, and then they get stalled out right by the boat because they don't want to cross the start line, but you see them getting right up in there. There you go. There's the start. So, yeah, they're trying to cross that line, but all right. I think we're going to let the little boats do their thing here. We're going to shoot up with these guys and try and catch the big boats and see if we can see some of the bigger ones, or at least we'll catch the downwind run on some of these.
All right, so the boat that we're watching from is currently repositioning itself for the Ugotta Regatta just because of some of the wind direction and to take a look at some of the bigger boats. Now, this is hosted by the Little Traverse Yacht Club, which is located in Harbor Springs. And as of 2025, this is the 64th running of the Ugotta Regatta. Now, how do you spell that? It's a different name for a regatta, and it's just kind of a funny name, actually. It's Ugotta Regatta, Regatta. Just a little fun play on words, and that's what this is. It's a fun social event after the Mac races, which are brutal, grueling races if you're trying to get from Chicago to Mackinac Island or from Port Huron to Mackinac Island, both of which can take anywhere between, I think, 28 and 40 hours, depending on wind directions and conditions, wave conditions. And as of 2025, in the Huron to Mac race, there was actually some drama there with a man overboard. Successfully recovered, so that is great to hear. No one was injured, but these races are no joke. The Port Huron to Mac and Chicago to Mac Island race, both historical sailing races which have taken place, but they're a lot more stressful than this Ugotta Regatta, which is in a more controlled environment of Little Traverse Bay and has some protection from the wind and the weather most of the time, as well as you're not offshore sailing. So I hope you've enjoyed this video of the 2025 Ugotta Regatta, and come back and join us in 2026 for more footage of the Ugotta Regatta. Thank you, and we'll see you next time for the 65th Ugotta Regatta.